So say you have this huge scene that you made in Blender, but you need textures for all of the objects because the Roblox texturing engine doesn't support large objects with different textures on them. But since you have so many objects, it's not worth it to bake every single one manually. So instead of baking them manually, there's an add-on that allows you to bake objects automatically and with all that you have selected. So the add-on is called BakeLab. You can get it here. It's also down below, and basically what BakeLab does is once you go to Edit, Preferences, and you BakeLab, after you've pressed install and chosen the BakeLab zip file, it should appear here, and you can just press the check mark, come down and press Save Preferences. Once you have it installed, it should show up here, and you have all these options. So I have a sample scene set up here. This one has 2 colors. This one has a metallic feel to it. This is a very complex material that I made. There's different roughness maps, displacements, and all that. This one has over 10,000 triangles, which is what Roblox doesn't support. And these two have an extra material slot that is empty. This one is just a normal one with a single color. The ground here is a noise map that is very detailed. So what you would do here is first you would select everything. You would go to Object, and then you would go to Cleanup and remove unused material slots. I found that this, first of all, cleans up everything and fixes a lot of issues later on that you might not know why it's happening. You would switch to Cycles here, and then that way you can bake the texture. This is how you would normally bake it. Down here you would select the object you want to bake, go to Combined, choose whatever you want, choose these options, and then you would UV unwrap it and then press Bake. However, this only bakes one thing at a time and is very inefficient if you have lots of things like 400 plus objects. So what you would do is, in BakeLab, first of all, you would go to UV maps and delete these maps that come with the object you have imported or made, because this will mess up the mapping if you bake it without removing these. So you can press minus in object data, go to UV maps and just press minus once you've selected them. You can go up to the hierarchy and then just press the down arrow to select the next one and keep doing this. This is the only way I found to delete them, but there might very well be a faster way to do lots of them. After you've done this, you can select everything you have here, and it should be, what you'll see is pack. You want to go to save and choose the file path that you want to save it to. So I will save it to my tutorial, and then you can press create folder. This will create a folder for every single object's textures. I don't usually want this, but if you want it, you can turn it on. You press unwrap here to unwrap. You select all individual, which will unwrap every single one into an individual UV map. Instead of creating a large one, you can also do all into one or only active. And then you can select the name here. Once you're done, you just press OK. And it should have unwrapped everything. As you can see down here, there is now a bake UV map that we just made. So if you hadn't taken out the original UV, there'd be 2, and Blender would be confused during baking as to which to apply to the texture. So you see every one of these that we have selected now has a bake UV map that we just created. And to bake all of these, you would, hold on, let me change this to GPU. To bake all of these, you would go to Maps, you can press plus, and you can choose all of these. Roblox has a 1024 width and height limitation for resolution on the maps. This is why you don't want to make your whole scene into one large, like 200k map, because Roblox won't be able to process it and it would just downscale it and make it less resolution. This way everything will have its own 1k texture, and that way it'll be much clearer. Select whatever you want here, you press OK, and you can, for example, select this and you just press bake over here. It'll start baking the texture map, and once it's done baking, you should see this option right here. There's generate materials, apply AO, and apply displacement. So what's going on here is it's created the texture map, it's also saved it, but it hasn't applied it to the object here. If you want to export into Roblox, you need an FBX, which is here, FBX. You'll need to do path mode copy and press this button over here, embed textures. I would suggest doing selected objects, or else it'll import all hidden and everything else in your scene. And since Blender has a very large scale when importing, I usually do 0.04 for exporting. But before you do that, you have to generate materials, press generate materials, and it'll apply the texture that it just baked onto this. And that's the only way you'll actually be able to export with textures. So do copy, press embed textures. You can choose a scale and selected objects. Then you would export FBX and would export the thing you selected. So at this point, it'll delete what material you had there, which isn't usually good because you won't be able to get it back, and Blender's pretty destructive for this. So I would suggest actually Control-Z first and then creating a backup before you actually start baking and generating materials onto any objects. So I'm just going to bake for all of these, and then I'll show you how to import. Okay, so once it's baking, I have baked both metallic, displacement, diffuse, albedo, and roughness, as well as glossy maps. Since these two have multiple maps onto them, it can't be generated by generate materials here, but there's another way to add all of these maps into Roblox. So still continue, just press by generate materials. These will completely lose all of the other features due to them being only albedo / diffuse now. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to File, Export, Export FBX, Auto, Copy. You do this, Selected Objects, do that, and then it should, even though it's a single file in your disk, Roblox will recognize that there's different objects and split them from the actual file. Do keep in mind though, Roblox only allows mass imports of up to 200 models at once. Past that, you have to cut it up into different files and have them import. So you just press Export FBX and it saves, and we can go into our Roblox studio. So in Studio, we have our world. You're gonna go to View and then Asset Manager over here. You need to upload your game or project onto Roblox for Asset Manager to work. It'll prompt you when you press the button, so you don't have to worry too much. And you just press bulk import up here, and you can select your file, the FBX you just saved. So that should be in here, 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 and then you press open. You can don't select rescale of too large if it's more than 200 models, and if you want it to keep the same size. Good thing about it is if it's different files that you're importing past 200 models and you import with location, it'll stay in the same place as in your Blender, as long as you don't rescale if too large. So you just uncheck that and you press apply all. Then it'll show a progress here. As you can see, the one with more than 10,000 does not in fact import, but everything else should work fine. I'm not sure why this one doesn't though. Anyway, you can just select all of these by clicking and clicking on the last one, right click and insert with location. They will insert as they were in the file, and I'm going to try this one more time. Alright, there we go. Sometimes it just doesn't work for some reason. But that's alright, because you can just insert with location and it'll be the same as if you inserted all together. So here we have our scene, and as you can see, these two still don't have their reflectiveness. So what you're going to do is, since you've saved all these maps, you're going to go into the Roblox dev portal or the creator hub, and you're going to go development items, decals, and you're going to upload asset. So once you have done imported all the extra ones that aren't diffuse, or if you should also probably import diffuse. So once you have done that, you can copy the ID, for example, the roughness first, and go back into your project, and for the one that you want with all the extra textures, you can go into the Explorer, press this plus, and go surface appearance, and it'll drop this down, and you can see here there's different ones for roughness, normal, metalness, and color. Simply just add the ones that you have normals and all that for. As you can see, it's all like this. After I've filled in most of these, you would have a fully working one with normals and roughness and all that. And you can do the same with all the other ones that you have metal for. Just go here and add surface appearance, and you fill them in. And one thing to note, if this were bigger, the colors, since it's only 1024, the edges would be really rough, just like here where it's all like blurry. So what I would suggest is, if you just have two different colors that are solid, you can just split them up. Like, you can go into your Blender. You can, by the way, this reminder to make a backup in case all your textures get deleted. Since you have two solid colors here, you can just deselect everything. Go to Material 1, you can just press Select here and it'll select everything. You can just split it and it'll become two objects, and then that way if you clean them again and delete their UVs and rebake, this way it'll import as two textures with two models with different solid colors, and all the lines would then be sharp. So that's how you do everything. And quick note, if the geometry looks weird, I suggest getting this mesh optimization tools. If you're playing with it and then you realize you're running into invisible walls that you didn't place, you go to mesh optimization tools in your toolbox. You can come down here and press show decomposition geometry. It'll show all the collisions that it's detected. If there's anything wrong, you can go to mesh patcher, which is this thing. You press on the object that's having trouble. You should do precise convex decomposition and choose your options here and apply patch, and it should fix it. Also, everything sometimes will be weird. If you see like transparent or missing parts of a model, it's usually fixed by just pressing double-sided over here. Yeah, so that's how you import large amounts of objects with textures into Roblox from Blender. Surface appearance should also work for just textures that you just want to add to straight up Roblox parts. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.